Thought-provoking, challenging the popular perspectives, critical of today's opinions. We go all the way in deep. What's a thought's worth if thoughts must conform to ill-conceived theories and so-called orthodox beliefs, twisted opinions of hypocrisy? How do we reach new heights? Ascend to higher realizations, activate the powers of abstract reasoning? We must break the chains that hold us down from celestial flights. Face what you think you know with what you have yet to know. For the moment, never mind how you believe things ought to be. We must revolutionize our minds for there to be a clear way to unify. For that to happen, we must have a seat at the table all over again. Just making sure the light works. Unlock the keys of scrutiny. Revive what it means to pursue knowledge. Manifest the God in we, you and me. Welcome to your wake-up call. Soul Journey of Life. Conscious Black Social Media. The Light Dome. Okay. Yes, indeed, family. Welcome back. Welcome forward. Whichever perspective you want to put that. This is your brother Abdul Wadud, aka Questman, coming at you live. Once again, Soul Journey of Life, Conscious Black Social Media. Just making sure the light works. And I'd like to begin by greeting the viewers watching right now. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Shalom. Hotep. Peace and blessings be with you. The mercy of the Most High, closer to you than your jugular vein. And beginning with this, I'd like to see this as a the type of episode, or the type of show, I should say, that is really in my lane. You know, the things that, I would really like to be sharing on a platform such as this. I'm one of those that even just the subject matter itself is like is right at my heart. You understand? I believe that in this this effort to rise up and revolutionize the life that we're living right now, I believe that that the most important battle, the most important fight, is very, very close to home. You understand? Very close to home, very close to you. A soul journey of life. The road is not like common roads. It is a road that many want to avoid and few tread with care. Upon this path, I myself struggle to walk, and yet I do with divine aid. Of the things I enjoy are the unique, special encounters, meeting people, and especially in who I find my reflection, or better than that, in who I find a divine reflection of what life means to me. I have found continually in such one sacred and preserved the values that I hold dearly. The principle that what you are about is demonstrated in what you do over what you say, manifested greatness in those who insist on a balance in their life, fighting the true fight, fighting the major fight, the battle of self. You understand? So this is what I mean when I say the light dome, keeping illuminated your very reason for being. No matter what you do in your life or what you may go through, this light will always make clear your way, make plain what is virtuous for you and from you. So let's see here. I'm just kind of organizing my screen, making sure everything is everything. So today we have, another opportunity to communicate with yet another honored guest. That tends to be what we get on this platform, is honored guests, brilliant minds, brilliant, what I would like to emphasize, because there we do have adversaries. We do have people who like to try to exploit or look for the worst in us. And if we were to let it go like that, you would think that what what is our worth on this planet? What is our value based upon what our adversaries may present? But I believe that people with keen eyesight, you understand, people who are able to see what's real, they'll see that there is so much more in what it means to be melanated. There's so much more in the melanated community. You understand, the so-called black community, so much more. And as I've mentioned before, in pretty much every area of life, all the areas that matter, all the areas that make the world go around, that make things go, you'll find that we have individuals and collectives that are adept in those areas. You understand? Um, I'm one of those that adamantly believe that we have at our arsenal every tool we need in each of us. You understand? Each of us. So much so that, anything else that might come from anyone else is simply an accessory or complementary, but not essential. What is essential is the harmony that we can develop amongst ourselves, seeing eye to eye where we see eye to eye, and where we don't, keeping the peace between us, agreeing to disagree, and so on. And so I have this to say, because I don't exempt myself from being any more a part of the problem as a part of the solution. You understand? I believe that each of us, um, we are the solution to our problem. And so this particular flow that or poem or citation of mine, deriving from the heart, I have to share with you. I titled it "Sometimes My Big Head Gets in the Way," and this is from your brother Questman. Sometimes my big head gets in the way, until inside I see. Sometimes my heart beats the way, so inside I breathe. Ancient voice, ancient voices echo through my genes. Enlightenment chant their signs in my dreams. Love the ultimate conclusion, breaking chains. Out the dust ascends divine being. This little light eternal, my greatest fight internal. If you are real, seek bliss. If you are desiring a heavenly abode, Wish becomes a sacred kiss. When light frees of burdens upon one's soul, let the sun rise, a grand rise, in the night sky, brighten the eye. An ancient lesson in you, celestial. The Merkaba moves. When the broken pieces come, return together, healing, holy love soothes. So there's that. So let me tell you something briefly, if I can, about uh, today's guest. This is the person that I would like to be able to introduce to you, and I'm still waiting for um, them to get their link in. I sent their link, so hopefully they will be able to. She will be able to get that link. But I do have some announcement before I get to that point. Really, before I lose track of that, um, the sister that I'm going to be introducing to us, her name is Niara Ami, a 28-year-old sister from Ohio, a professional in public health, BS in public health, that is, yoga instructor, Reiki master, shaman, plant and medicine guide, herbalist, tantra practitioner, a cook, and a psychic, among other things. So when we return, I'm going to introduce this sister to this live. Let's see here. I want to remind you that let's see, on the 28th and the 29th, there are also two other shows scheduled for this week. This is probably the most shows I've had in one week because I tend to respond in the flow of of things. But this week, I mean, that's how it happens sometimes. Um, this is part of that flow. Let's see here. So make sure you lock in on the Binding the Enemy Night of Prayer, and that's in support of the brother Grandmaster Jay and his freedom. He is a not just a political activist. You understand? Sometimes we like to use these limiting words, but so much more to the people that he has inspired and influenced. So much more to people who believe in their rights to bear arms, who believe in their rights to defend themselves, and happen to be black people, melanated people. You understand? A community that has experienced in this particular country and abroad um, different variations of tyranny and oppression, trickery, deception, manipulation, corruption, and so on. So, and when you have ones that insist upon standing up, and then the outcomes tend to be something um, not favorable. Either they lose their life, they become silent, exiled, and even incarcerated, all in the effort of a worldly enemy to continue its oppressive agenda. So keep that marked on your calendars. Well, that's October 28th, 8 p.m. Yeah. All right. So let's see here. The other show was on the 29th of October at 9 p.m. and that's the continuing of the Making of False Gods, Part 4. I am, I be, I exist. So you have that. And okay. So keep your calendars marked for those things. I am going to play something here. And while I do that, I'm going to try to see if I can get everything else in order. And how's the family doing? Let me know in the chat how everybody's doing. You understand? I see a number of viewers watching right now. So break bread with a brother. Let me know how you're doing, and where you're at right now, and you know not just how you're doing, but what are you doing? And I will be back. Let's see. All right. So give me a moment. All right. Peace and blessings, family. I am back. Let me do something here. Yeah. So I had to basically go about this a different way because there's some difficulties that have been encountered with using the streaming platform. So I want to continue with my introduction of our sister. Again, that sister Niara Ami, age 28, of Akron, Ohio. Um, as I mentioned earlier, professional BSN public health, a yoga instructor, a Reiki master, shaman, plant medicine guide, herbalist, tantra practitioner, cook, and a psychic, whose mission is the uncovering of one's subconscious to shift the consciousness of oneself and the world by focusing on awareness, acknowledgement, and acceptance of self in alignment with one's soul purpose. Yes, indeed. Definitely a beautiful mission to have. So let me get the sister on the screen here this way. There we go. I think that ought to do it. And wow, just like that. See? Okay. If you could talk, sister, I want to make sure that the community can hear your voice. And if y'all can hear the
Okay.
sister, put a 1 in the chat.
Yes. Hello, everyone. How's everybody doing? Thanks for having me. I am Niara, as he mentioned. And I hope you all can hear me because I'm just talking.
hmm Give me a second here because I think I hear an echo and I'm going to try to deal with that.
Okay.
Let's see, how can I do that echo? And again, people in the chat, if y'all hear the echo, let me know if you hear the echo. It might be just me from my end.
I had to turn it on my other phone so I could see everything going on.
Let's see. Testing 1 2 1 2. Can you still hear me? You can't hear me now. Okay, so you couldn't hear me when I did that.
I can hear you now.
Okay, so they don't hear the echoes, only me. I'll just have to deal with it.
Okay. I
Because
don't hear it either.
with me sharing the platform you're on, I guess there's like something there.
Yeah, most likely.
So
All right.
let me go back to this right here. Put that there. So we had talked through messaging prior to this at some points in time about
Yeah.
what you do and things of that nature. And in fact, our
Mhm.
encounter kind of put us on this path. And me personally, being a person who prides in herbalism, who prides
Mhm.
in a soulful spiritual path that allows me to be open to people regardless of how they label themselves, and that's with all due respect of how they label themselves, but being able
Right.
to see a oneness through all of this and see the importance in that when it comes to you know what many of us aspire to achieve as a melanated people,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
So you had expressed to me, when I asked you about some of your learnings, your travels, things of that in life, you said, being exposed to different cultures and ways of life at a young age was your main inspiration. And
Absolutely.
even in that, you had expressed that, well, I'm not too much of a reader. I would say that you are, but on a whole
Mhm.
nother level, reading the world
Yeah.
around you and within you. But can you break down to us? Can you share with us some of your exposure to the different cultures and ways of life throughout, coming from a young age?
Well, for sure. Um, so I was born in Akron, Ohio. But I lived in Kent, Ohio until I was about 4, and then I moved to Akron. So for those of y'all who don't know, Kent is a small college town, predominantly white, and they have a better education system, better economics, and they have more opportunities. So I was open enrolled to Kent City schools for middle school and high school.
Hmm.
So through that, I was definitely exposed to not only, a white person's way of living and their lifestyle, but my school was actually like 30% other. So I would say 70% white and then 30% other. So not just Black or African American, but also Indian, Asian, Hispanic, all different types of cultures. So that was a great thing to learn from,
Okay.
and experience and observe. And even before that, honestly, both of my parents, they studied Pan-Africanism. And so there was always like different artifacts and things like that, like this behind me, just around the house.
Hold on a
And
second. Hold on a second, sister. Because I'm
mhm,
looking at what the commentary is saying, and they're saying to me that they're only hearing music, which I don't hear. I don't hear any music. I only hear. There's one way I can figure this out. One second. Let me do this.
okay,
Okay, say something.
something.
Yeah, I can hear her fine.
I say I don't hear any music. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm looking at what they would be seeing right now on YouTube, and I hear you perfectly fine.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess if it keeps messing up or on whoever's in spiritual rising, let us know and we'll try to do something else. Sorry about that.
So, Sister Spiritual Rising, I think you might not have the current time on your live stream. Make sure you click that button that says live so that it bring it right to the current time. Because you're probably still earlier when I was playing some music. That might help. Because L10 says they can hear Bigfoot.
Okay.
Okay. So
Cool.
that tells me what I need to know about that.
Right.
So,
Very interesting.
I mean, let me say it this way. One of the things that I really appreciated out of your response is you showing the diversity in your travel, in your experiences of the different
Mm-hmm.
cultures, ethnicities, and so on. And one of the things that I believe in a time where we're looking at the world around us as a melanated community here in the state, and we're seeing
Mm-hmm.
drama upon drama upon drama, and there are different ways that people have been moving to combat or express solutions to our problems at hand, whatever they may be, on whatever level they may be. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask, based upon your expertise and the things that you are, what I would say, experienced in, what
Mm-hmm.
out of what you do, first of all, what do you do? How can you, from your words, what do you do? Hmm.
Okay. In my words, I use different modalities, different healing modalities to help people really relax so their body can do what it needs to do and to let go and to heal and to release. That's at the basic, that's it. I just
Hmm.
help people relax so their body can function correctly.
Hmm.
um, but that plays a big deal in everything. Our we're so tense throughout our day-to-day life. And even when we go to bed, we hold on to so much tension, even when we sleep. And it's sometimes it takes a lot for you to become aware of that. And I help people become aware, of the tension that they're holding, of the stress that they're holding, the emotions, all of these things that are calling rigidness and stagnation and blockages, not only to their dreams and desires and, their goals and aspirations, but just also their day-to-day functioning,
Right.
like being able to get up and go to your job, with a smile on your face because you took that time to love on yourself in the morning, take a couple extra 5-10 minutes to look in the mirror and tell yourself, yes, I'm beautiful. Yes, I can do this. Yes, I'm strong, you know?
Okay.
And these are just very important practices to have on a day-to-day basis, whether you do them, on a big level, or on a minimum level, just, something simple, something very simple, but I think that it's important for people to just learn how to relax, and once you learn how to do that, then you can pretty much conquer anything, and then that's when I go deeper into how to use your power, how to use your energy, to really manifest the life that you want through finding peace and stillness within self,
Okay. So
if that makes
it makes sense to me. It makes perfect sense to me.
okay.
But I imagine that there are those within the community that you know, perhaps.
Yeah. So I can give you specifics, these different specific modalities.
Okay.
So first off, Reiki. Reiki is a traditional healing modality of Japan, and it's a form of somatic healing, so using touch to heal. And it's not necessarily physical touch because it can be hands off, but it's using the universal life force energy to help stimulate and activate different cells and different DNA, different organs in your body, different nerves and everything. Again, to bring your organ and your body back to its proper function back to homeostasis.
Okay.
So with Reiki, you typically, for those of you who don't know what Reiki is, if you come in for a session, you typically lay down on a table or, a floor, whatever the practitioner has set up. And you just, take your deep breath and you just kind of relax and you lay there, you get into a meditative state, and the practitioner will pretty much be using their hands to feel your aura, to feel your auric field, and to find any imbalances within your chakras and your aura and your electromagnetic field.
Okay.
I also use crystals, and I have these sound healing forks as well. I would play them now, but you can't really hear them through. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's kind of difficult to hear through
What
technology.
are those right
Um,
there?
these are tuning forks. So
Ah,
these are actual medical instruments. They use these at a regular Western doctor. But these are also used to literally tune your body to different frequencies. Um, So I use these in my Reiki sessions as well. I also do just regular tuning fork sessions. So there's 7 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh no, okay, there's
now,
9
now
of
you're
these.
mentioning some vocabulary words that might need to
Hmm.
be broken down to our viewers. You said
Gotcha.
frequencies. Now I
Yes.
understand what that
So
means, but the viewers,
so everything has a certain frequency. It's just a the rate of vibration. That's what frequency stands for. It's
mhm,
the rate of vibration.
mm,
So there's different frequencies, ranging from 174 to 963. As far as these tuning forks, there's a whole, range of frequencies. But these specific rates of vibration are used for different things. Like this is 174 hertz.
okay,
And this is good for pain and tension, like physical pain and tension.
yeah.
So I use this for headaches a lot, right? And then you have, let's see, this is 528 hertz.
Oh
So
wow.
they say that 528 hertz is the frequency of the universe. So that is the rate of vibration in which the universe vibrates at, is 528 hertz.
It kind of makes me
So this
think of
mhm,
some things that I've learned, and I've talked about this with the viewers on occasion regarding
nice,
the science of sound and how sound can affect the different physical elements such as crystallizations and things like that. And I always use a
right,
comparative. I said, well, if you have this crystallization and sound affecting that, what about the aspects of your nature? And how does sound
exactly,
positively or negatively affect that? Is that in sync
right.
with what you're talking about?
Yes,
Hmm.
absolutely. So there's something called somatics, which is how sound vibrates, and they do somatics with water. So they may take like a what is this called? A healing fork,
Hmm.
whatever. A tuning fork. Goodness. They may take a tuning fork and then put it on some type of machine and connect it with water, and then the water will actually start to take, shape, and it might look like, a snowflake or like some type of intricate spider web, depending on, the frequency. Now, if it's a very harsh and aggressive frequency, it's going to be the pattern that's going to show up is going to be very chaotic.
Okay.
Um, so that goes to show you that on a day-to-day lifestyle, whenever we hear anything, because everything is actually vibration. Um, so when we are listening to the radio, we may be flipping through the channels and there's something, it's just very staticky, right? And we're
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, turn
Hmm.
off, right? So these sounds are everywhere. We just can't actively hear them sometimes. So it's important for you to take that time and to recalibrate your own frequency. And tuning forks are a way to help do that, as well as Reiki by itself, and some of the other modalities that I offer. Like yoga. Yoga's a really good one, in my opinion, because it helps to it's really self-analysis and self-observation. I won't even say analysis. It's really more so self-observation and acceptance. And
Okay.
observation and acceptance, we can begin to shift and change. Because when something is so stubborn and it's being forceful, um, your body isn't going to want to accept that. It's just not. And if it does accept it, it's going to do it for in a way that your body is going to become stressed. So with yoga, it's easy to, okay, let's do a pose, right? I don't even know. Actually, this pose that I'm doing right now, this is just how I use it, which is pretty much crisscross applesauce. I don't know if you all can see this all the way on the camera, but so like this, half lotus, okay? Yes, this is called half lotus with both legs up. This is full lotus. Um, So let's just say I'm doing this, right? And it's like, my ankle, it hurts really, really bad. I can't sit like this, I just can't do that, right? So when you look into different healing techniques and the different philosophies, you see that we hold energy and we hold emotions in different parts of our body. So if I'm like, oh, my ankle, it's hurting, it's just very stiff, I can't do that, then maybe it might be important to look up some things, do a little bit of research. Okay, what emotions are typically held in your ankles, or if your wrists are hurting in your wrists, shoulders, hips. And for women, we hold a lot of our emotions and our traumas in our hips. So um, it's very, very easy with yoga to see in your body where you're holding tension. And it's also easy to see in your mind when your mind starts to race or when you start to, judge yourself. Because I can't do this balancing pose. Oh, I'm no good at this. I can't do this. But really, it's just observing. Okay, today, right now, no, maybe this just isn't working. But that's right here. Right. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Exactly, exactly, because everything is energy, right? And that those words are energy, and energy wants to continue going. So as long as you are amplifying this energy, it's going to want to continue living. And even when you are starting to, kind of combat that negative self-talk or whatever negative energy it is, it's still a life force and it still wants to continue. So it's going to become more aggressive. That negative self-talk is going to become more aggressive because you're on that edge of getting over that hump, getting to a breakthrough, but it might. Mhm. Right. Mhm. Exactly. Exactly. Right. Right, yes, absolutely, because, your mind, it's every in my opinion, like 90%, if not 99% of this world is placebo effect. So meaning mind over matter, if you put your mind to it, you can make anything possible. You can make anything make sense. Um, so um the more okay.
Let me pause it for a second. I want to see if I could do something with this the way this sound for me is going. I'm gonna put
Okay.
this.
I wonder why it changed.
Let's
Oh
do that.
wow. Mm. Oh,
All right. Let me see if that works. Okay, so you probably see me again in your screen. Let me close this one out. Why didn't I think of this before? Hmm. I think this is going to work. I think so. Let's see. Share audio and tab. Because now, say something.
Something.
Okay, let me close this one and go back over here. I'm going to take this one out. And boom. Okay. All right. So for my audience, I'm going to mic check 1 2 1 2. If you could hear a brother, let a brother know. Okay. You hear us both now? Cool, cool, cool. That's
Great.
what I needed to see. So now I can close this one out.
Nice. Very nice. Yeah, I don't know why it wouldn't let me even do the app. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Well, are you using an iPhone or something?
No, I'm on an Android.
Android? That's
Mhm.
interesting because normally ah were you trying to use like an app or did you just click the link itself?
I just clicked the link itself,
Hmm. Because
so I don't
normally
know.
when you click that link, it'll send you to like a page where you enter your name. It'll
Uh-huh.
ask you about the mic and the camera. Then once you do
Right.
all that, you click it and it goes to it opens a page to a room.
Oh
Um.
yeah. Because
Hmm.
it kept trying to say like joining room or entering room, but then it would stop and give me some other type of error message.
Hmm.
So
I don't know.
I'm not.
Well,
But either way, we're here now.
it's working now. So we found a way, as we were saying, we found a way. Um.
Right.
Now let me minimize that.
I forget the
I
last
want to
one.
do something here because I know there's a portion of our audience that is, I would say, and this is with all due respect to the people who see themselves as religious. You understand? They're religious.
Mhm.
There's religious people in the audience, and what I'd like
Right.
to do, because for me that's just one language versus another language. Um,
Right.
but the people that are of these particular ways, you would reason that they desire progress in their life. Otherwise, they wouldn't do what they do. They wouldn't be upon what they're on.
Right.
They want value. They want virtue. So what I'm
Mhm.
looking into is where in this practice that you're upon, how can they
Mhm.
benefit? How can they see that, hey,
So
in this is something valuable?
right. So it's interesting that you bring that up because I've spoken to a lot of people who are religious and things of that nature.
Hmm.
And I'll bring up yoga. Oh yeah, I like yoga. This is before I was an instructor. I'm like, oh yeah, I like yoga. And they're like, oh, yoga, like doesn't that like devil worship or doesn't that, open up your soul to whatever? And I'm like, no. um yoga has no religious denomination at all. It has nothing to do with religion.
Mm,
There are some religions that practice yoga, but
right.
yoga itself is not a religion. Um, Now, typically, the yoga that people think of is India, yoga from India, but there's all types of forms of yoga. There's Kemetic yoga, which is Egypt. There was this thing the other day that I was just looking at, I think was from the Bantu people.
Okay.
And they were talking about their form of yoga. So it's not, anything religious, it's not anything hocus pocus, witchcraft or anything like that. But it is a spiritual practice.
Speaking of,
Because it does. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, speaking of that Bantu, there's a quote
Hmm.
that I found from you. Let me see if I can find that again real quickly. But while you're doing that, while I'm doing that,
Yeah.
continue as you
Okay.
were
All
saying.
right. But yeah, so it's like it is a spiritual practice because it does help you get in touch with yourself and with, just with life and the flow of life.
Mm,
Now, whether you believe in a higher power, whether that be, God, Allah, Krishna, I don't know,
hmm.
whoever, right? There's a million different names for a million different gods. Um, but at the end of the day, yoga is a practice that you are doing. For me, I call it a full body prayer.
Full body
And it's
prayer.
up to
Yeah.
you. Yes, it's up to you to decide who or what you're praying to. Right. There are people, there's actually a yoga studio in a Christian church that I've gone to. So, you can take something that's from a different culture and you can make it your own, right? I mean, that's what America's good for, right?
Right. It's like this.
So,
When I break it down to people, it's like I say to them, I say, look, you have your methodology of service to what you see as your originator, your creator. You have your method.
right,
But
right,
while you're taking on your method, you go to school, you learn mathematics, which is a way
exactly,
to understand the world around you. Then you go to the next class and you learn biology, which is another way to
exactly,
understand the world around you and in you, even in you. These are all
right,
aspects or tools of how with what aid you in your journey as you practice or
exactly.
live in accordance to the principles and values of your quote unquote religion.
Mhm.
Is that right?
Absolutely. And it's because everything is about perspective, right? So that's just a different way of looking at life. It's the same life, it's just you're looking at it from this side now. And you're gaining more openness, you're gaining more awareness to not only yourself, but to what this world is and what a specific thing is. And that translate not just through whatever that one thing is, but now you can be more open to the next time you encounter maybe something you weren't so sure of before, or you were so against before, or you were a little leery of before.
Right.
Um, and it's not saying that you have to completely like, oh yeah, I love this thing, I understand it. And no, that's not what it's about. It's just about saying, okay, this is one way of looking at it, and it works for them, it works for these people. Maybe not for me, but that's okay. Going to church every Saturday or every Sunday, my bad, every Sunday and Wednesday for Bible study, that may work for you. And that's fine. But there's no need to say that one is more valid than the other.
Hmm.
And there's no need to say that one is going to work better, or even just introduce it and it's like they get a very nasty taste in their mouth because of whatever it is that they're exposed to. But when you can just be open, have an open mind and have an open heart, then people are more accepting.
Yes, I want to read something to the people real quick.
Hmm.
It's a post that I found from your page. Um,
Okay.
it's actually it's attributed to you. You're the one that this is sourced from.
All right, let's
Remember to
hear it.
breathe. You said, remember to breathe. Be, release and let go. Don't think, just feel. Be here now. For now is all there is. No use in being absorbed by thoughts when there's life creation to be explored. Letting go of thoughts. The analytical mind isn't letting go of the voice. For in the moment of release and acceptance, the voice is boundless being. I'm sorry, the voice is clear. Don't let now pass you by. Be the love. Be the boundless being we care. Be the balanced being we are. Be free of ego, the imitation of lack, acknowledging life's playground, acknowledging the one we are. I am because you are. You are because I am. Ubuntu. Can you what 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 um what can we say about this?
Um, do you per se have a timestamp on that of when I wrote that? Because I like to, think about what I was going through in my life.
Yep, 1 second. I will find that again.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. That
Um,
was, but that's still just as heavy today as it was then. It looks like
yes,
that was May 12th of last year.
May of last
May
year.
of
Where
last
was
year.
I? Last
Where were
May,
you on your journey?
I was in Peru.
Peru? Okay. Okay.
Yes,
What brought you about being in Peru?
yes. Okay. So I um I was ready to get out of Ohio. I was ready to travel and just explore. And I really, really wanted to go to Indonesia and then from
Mm.
Indonesia go to India.
Wow. I
But
mean, I'm curious real quick. I don't mean to interrupt, but
Mhm.
I mean, I'm just imagining because I can remember my passions, my moments in life where I said, "Look, I got to travel. I got to just get up.
Mhm.
No one's going to do it for me. Get my
Right,
visa, get my passport. Let's do it. Let's
right.
go. Let's go." Right?
Hmm.
What were you
Absolutely.
doing? I mean, you're sitting there and
Yeah, so let
Peru.
me backtrack a little bit.
Okay.
So um so about when I was in, I'll say, high school, college, that's when I really wanted to get out of Ohio.
Wow.
Like growing up, we had all these different artifacts from different countries and cultures. And it's like, I want to go experience that. And my mom always told me to get out and travel. So, I'm in college at this time, and I went to Kent State University in Ohio, and my junior slash senior year, because I switched majors. I was going to go to school in California. I was going to do an exchange program and then go back to Kent for my last year.
Okay.
But I was dating a boy and he decided he couldn't go with me. So I'm like, all right, I'll stay in Ohio. And I moved to Cleveland.
Mm,
Um, so I eventually graduated school like a year later and stayed in Ohio. Me and him broke up eventually. And started dating another guy. And I told him at this point, I'm like, this is my last winter in Ohio. I'm a naturalist. These things about me, you're either with me or you're not. He's like,
mm,
cool, I can accept that. Now he had two children. So when it came time for me or for our lease to be up by in our house, it's about to be winter time again. I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to go. And he's like, well, I don't think I'm ready to go, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. Ended that relationship.
okay.
So then I lived with my cousin for a couple months, and at this time, I wasn't in a relationship, so I didn't have anybody else to think about or to worry about. And my tax money was about to come in, so I was going to be good with that. And as far as work, I was just driving Lyft at the time. I was a substitute teacher before that. I worked at a
Oh,
vegan
really?
meal prep
Wow.
company. Yeah, I was a secretary, did have my jobs, but at that point I was just driving Lyft. So I didn't have, any real commitments. Don't have any children. I'm ready to go.
You know what?
COVID was around. Hmm.
There's something about I've been an Uber driver as well, and there's something about my
Okay.
experience driving that allowed me,
Hmm.
like, not only did I have the experience of dealing with the passengers and hearing so many different stories and tales and adventures and whatnot, but
Right.
because of my nature, I'm a sojourner. You understand, which is
Hmm.
sojourney is kind of me playing with that, right?
Right.
But it
Right.
always allows me the opportunity to really come to terms with me. You understand? Not in an egotistical way, but in a way
Hmm.
of who are you? What is going on? And
Right.
and just seeing the sights. You understand? In and out,
Yeah.
and it just really opens you up so much more to looking at where your journey is going in life. You understand?
Hmm.
And ultimately, nothing stops, you understand, in your life until you stop it. Nothing goes in your life until you go.
Right.
It's like you're
Right.
really a key instrument in your own life.
Yes. Absolutely. And sometimes it's even though it seems like that should be easy to comprehend, It's kind of not, just like common sense ain't so comments. Sometimes it's difficult to be, the star role, the main role in your own movie.
Mm.
Because you're only looking out, like on a day-to-day basis, you're only looking out the outside, right? Yeah, we may look in the mirror in the morning and maybe when we walk past something, right? But how often are we looking at ourselves, and not only physically, but are we being intentional with our words and our behaviors and our actions? And are we being disciplined within those actions
Mm-hmm.
and aware of, just what we're saying and what we're doing?
Okay.
Right? So it can be hard. I mean, it can be very easy to dissociate from your own life and to not understand that you are the key role. Even when dissociating from your role, you are still that main role,
Right. Right. So
right?
it's like an expression that I say often. Um, I say it in two ways. One is when it comes to
Mhm.
couples and relationships, and let's say they're planning on having a child. I say, why, when
Yeah.
you have your child, have the mindset that you're giving birth to your solution. You understand? A continuation of your solution, and not just
Right.
another person, another entity existing. Also,
Right.
I say, if you have a problem, let's say you see you go to some place and you say, oh man, look at this trash. This trash, why doesn't somebody take out the trash? And I say, well, the solution is right there. The one who's complaining about the problem is the solution to the same
Hmm.
problem. You take out the trash, and then guess what? It's not there anymore. Problem
Exactly. I
solved.
say that all the time. Like, there's no need for that, because that's where that ego comes in. And it's
Yeah.
like, bro, you both want the same thing to happen.
Mm,
Just do it. It
hmm.
don't matter.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. But yeah. Um, so I don't know where I was at in the story about how I got to Peru. Okay, yes I do. Um, so yeah, I was single, I was living at my cousin's house, and I had met a friend online, and he's like, yeah, I'm free to go. I don't have any responsibilities. He was in Chicago, or he was in Illinois, about an hour from Chicago.
Hmm.
So I'm like, all right, cool. Well, when my money comes, then I will come to you. We'll hang out for a little bit, and then we'll be, traveling. Like I said, we planned on going to Indonesia and then going to India from there. Now we booked our flights to Indonesia, and then like a week later, they canceled our flights because of COVID.
Mm,
That's when like everything was getting shut down. And we're like, well, going out the country is looking a little iffy right now.
hmm.
So we decided to just travel the US in my car, my 2015 Honda Civic. Great on gas, great car to travel in. Yes, a little small, but
But that's a Honda
it
for you.
was.
Hmm.
So we traveled to about 18 different states within a year. Um, Started off in Illinois, went down to Ohio, to Texas, California, back to Texas, back to California, Oregon, Washington, Nevada, all those places over there,
Yeah.
back to the East Coast, back to the West Coast. Then eventually we ended up in Florida. Now, by the time we got to Florida, it was about a year. It was in February. We left Illinois in March of 2020, was it? I think March of 2020. That's when COVID started. Then yes, then if not, then whenever it was, that's when we left, was March.
Okay.
And so by February of that next year, we were in Florida, and we're like, okay, well, things are opening back up now. We heard Mexico was open. They didn't need any really requirements. I don't even think you needed the COVID test at that time. You just had to have your passport and wear two masks on the plane, and that was that. So
Okay.
we went to Mexico, and part of the reason why we decided Mexico, because part of our trip and our journey was about spirituality and the lifestyle of India and Indonesia. We were on um, what is known as a breatharian path. Breatharian is a um, It's a way of eating. Well, non-eating. You pretty much eat your life force. You eat prana, air.
You
You
eat your
get
life force.
well, you don't eat your life force, but you take in energy just, through air, and you enhance your life force just through pure prana. So you don't eat
Okay.
food, you don't need drink water, you do a lot of breath work, breathing exercises, you meditate a lot. You're very disciplined within these mindful practices and these yogic practices. You can still, take some take herbs, some do eat on occasion, some do drink water or juice on occasion, but that's the path that we were on. So I hadn't eaten in like maybe 2 months, like consistently,
Mm-hmm.
4 months, like on and off. But so that's one of the main reasons why we're wanting to go to Indonesia and India, because they have a lot of people who practice those type of things over there.
Speaking of
Um, Mhm.
herbs, speaking of
Yes.
herbs here, let me see something. I want to see if I can show you this. And can you explain to me, to the people? Let me see if it shows up here, right? Is that good?
I
What's going on here? Can you see that?
don't see anything.
Well, what I'm showing is you've got like a layout on a blanket. This,
Oh, now I see it.
yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Break that down for
Yeah.
the people if you don't mind.
Yeah, no problem. So, those are all herbs that I just picked out the lot next door to my house.
Mm-hmm.
There's some dandelion root, that's the brown stuff. And then the leaves are from the dandelion flower. And then the pinkish, reddish, or yeah, the pinkish flowers, those are red clover. So all of these things, like I said, I just picked in the lot next door.
Yeah.
Um, and they're known as weeds, right? People are like, oh, these gotta go, chopping them down, throwing the grass, all that. But they're medicinal. They have a lot of health benefits to them.
And that seems to be
Dandy,
the case with a lot of the so-called weeds. That's an
yeah,
interesting thing that these are
right.
just weeds.
Exactly. And honestly, like I'll go to East Cleveland and I'll go to some of the like abandoned lots, and they have a lot of good herbs. They'll have things like
Yes, yes,
burdock.
yes.
They'll have mugwort. They'll have a lot of good stuff that you can, buy at these, health food stores for 15, $20, whatever, or you can just learn about them, learn
Hmm.
how to identify them, and go get them for free your damn self.
Yes, indeed.
So
Let me show you something here because, see, as I mentioned to you, I myself, and I'm not saying this to toot my own horn, but I'm an herbalist. You understand? Amongst so
Mhm.
many other things, I don't say that I'm a master, but I am.
Right, you're a practitioner.
I'm a
None of
practitioner, and
absolutely.
when I moved into where I am now,
Mhm.
this is what. Let me see if it'll show up. I got to transition it. Okay, there we go. This is what my yard looked like. Come on, transition. Can you? I gotta move it up. Hold on a second here. Let me go to the image. This is what my front yard looks. I got a backyard too, but I don't have a picture.
Oh,
Let me.
nice.
One second. One second. Take a look now. It should show up. I had to move the picture around. So even the tree, everything that you see there
Right,
is something that I planted. Oh, it's still not showing.
nice.
Is it still not?
Whenever it turns up, but very cool.
Now, and what I'm doing is I'm showing you a before.
Oh, wow.
So
Oh,
I'm
wow.
gonna have to shrink it down because it won't fit on the screen. So let me shrink things down so it'll fit.
Was there like no grass or was it?
Well, okay. Let me explain. Uh, I got some explaining to do, right? Um, this right here is what the yard looked like before. Come on, show up. Let's transit. There we go. And it was it was the so-called weeds, but it was the weeds that wasn't agreeable for
Right,
all intents and purposes. And because
right.
the yard was unkept, it wasn't cared for or anything. And I was like, no, I can't do this. I need
Mhm.
something that. One of the things that I learned in an aspect of Reiki study is dealing with the environment. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Creating the environment in a way that's also soothing to you. You understand? As you live there.
Absolutely.
And so I try to
Yeah.
do that within and without of my abode. So
Nice.
this right here is the before, and you see, and this was a few years ago, and I've shared this with people on my IG and whatnot. A
Mm-hmm.
few years ago, so I'm like, I start putting little things there, even some standard bushes and whatnot up in the front. Um, there are seeds planted there. You even see some thyme around that tree on the left side, starting to
Okay.
grow. Now let me see if I could show you what happened later. I'm gonna have to go back in here. Bear with me because this is gonna take a little bit of time
No problem.
to do. Okay, I think I'll be able to do that real good right here. Let's see here. So as time went on, this is one angle of the same yard. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
And so you see a variety of things, including non-edibles as well, more for cosmetic reasons. Um,
Right.
but you see there, you see there's some rosemary on the other side of that. There's some even further. You can't see it. I don't think you see it in the image there. Some lavender. I even have some sprouts of basil, purple basil. The what I call G basil because I could never, I can't pronounce the name.
Yeah.
So it's G basil. And then there's some thyme on over there, and some thyme right up in the front. There's some thyme also. Um,
Okay.
and I've got a variety of different things going on, that
Mm-hmm.
upon my journey I've learned were beneficial. In fact, let me let's minimize that. What I have with me right now, I've noticed. I don't know if you've noticed. I've been drinking on some chai right here. This is my
Some
second
try.
cup
Nice.
actually, and
I just got
what
some try.
what I
Looks good.
have
I
in
don't know.
this is what I'm drinking of. There are various wildflowers in this mixture right here.
Oh,
You understand? Some
nice.
wildflowers, and I mentioned earlier lavender in
Yeah.
this pot right here. So
Very nice.
yes, indeed. So it's for me, it's like it's all part of this circle. You understand? It's all part
Mm-hmm.
of this lane, if you will. It all works
Yeah.
hand in hand. Um, One of the things that I've noticed that we've have in common in our journey is being in positions of teaching. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And communicating to youth or other individuals, and
Mm-hmm.
that's something that I've experienced all through my life, as well as communication. Even some elements in my educational background deals with communication. Um, Ironically, my occupation is an IT repair tech, which I've mentioned before to people. I said, look, I feel like I've been doing this all my life. You understand?
Right.
Because growing up, I was always involved in trying to understand how things work, and if one's
Mm-hmm.
broken, how can I repair it and fix it and make it work again, or improve on whatever it was.
Right.
So in an analytical way, I find that showing itself in so many different ways. Like even now, this very live and the way this is all functioning. Even when we
Mm-hmm.
encountered a problem, you know,
Right.
my mind is working like clockworks, right?
Mm-hmm.
you know, to find a solution. Um,
Absolutely.
and I mean, this is it just amazes me, how much a person can really tap into their own powers and extract or derive solutions in any given
Right.
situation. Um,
Right.
and this is irrespective of where we are in the world. You understand? And what we may be going through. There's always a way. You understand?
Absolutely.
There's always a way. Um, I want to ask you, let me get back to that. Let me ask you this. The yamas and niyamas.
Mm-hmm.
Can you break
Yes.
that down? The yamas and
Okay.
niyamas.
Actually, let me grab it real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Here it is. Okay. This is the book, The
Mm-hmm.
Yamas and Yamas. So this is talking about yoga philosophy. So when people think of yoga, typically in the Western world, in the United States, in Europe, we think of just the postures of yoga, but yoga is a very, very dynamic thing. So this explores some of the philosophies and practices within yoga.
Mm.
So I will read some. Well, I will read them. So the yamas are the hold on. There's the restraints, and then there's the observances. So the yamas, I believe, is the restraints, and then the inyamas is the observances.
Okay.
So we have ahimsa, which is non-violence, satya, truthfulness, asteya, non-stealing, brahmacharya, non-excess, aparigraha, non-possessiveness. So those are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yamas.
Okay.
And then you have, hold on one second, is this correct?
Um.
I'm reading from the table of contents, so I just want to make sure that these are okay. Either way, so the next one, the inyamas then are going to be satya, purity,
Yeah. Yeah.
santosha,
Right. Mm-hmm.
contentment, tapas, self-discipline, svadhyaya, self-study, and isvara, pranidhana, surrender. So all of these things are things that are not necessarily, well, yes, they are goals within yoga.
Okay.
Nonviolent, to be nonviolent, and not just in a physical way, but in a way that doesn't not speaking ill words, because words are violent, can be violent.
Right.
Um, right. And
They say that words can even take a person's life. They can take a life.
exactly. Right. And then also nonviolence towards yourself. So really focusing on self-love. And when you really practice self-love, that fills your cup and your cup begins to overflow and your love for other people can enhance. Um, and then truthfulness. So not just being truthful with your words, being honest, but also being honest with your thoughts, being honest with yourself.
Hmm.
Um,
Keeping it real.
Right, keeping it real, really expressing yourself in a pure way, not being kind and polite just because that's what we're supposed to do, but really expressing how you feel, not saying you have to be aggressive and mean with it, but if it comes out like that, then it does, and not saying that, you justify it
Mm-hmm.
and you continue to do that, but that's what that is in the present moment, and hopefully the people that you're around can understand that that was in the moment, and next time maybe you can learn different ways to let out that anger, in a way that is less harmful, that is maybe um more, you can actually talk with someone, or maybe you take that time to walk away and then come back to the situation, right? Everything is a learning lesson. um
What I have right here on the screen, I don't know if you're able to see it, but
yes,
I'm showing here where the two terms that we
very
just
good.
used, yamas,
Yes,
wanyamas, are two parts of 8 limbs of yoga. And I
absolutely.
thought that was pretty interesting that these are the top or upper parts on this list. Me seeing
Right.
there's like a clockwise ordering of it. Um,
Yes, because it's the foundation. it's
mhm.
the it's just the foundation, right?
Yes, indeed. So you mentioned to us, let me
Hmm.
make this big so I can see it as well. You mentioned to us of the two that I pointed out. You
Yeah,
mentioned in yamas we have ahimsa. kindness,
Yeah.
satya,
Mm-hmm.
truthfulness,
Mm-hmm.
asitya, non-stealing, brahmakarya, moderation,
Mm-hmm.
aparigarha, generosity for yamas. And then on the
Yeah.
niyama side, you have saucha, purity, santasha, contentment, topas, austerity, swadhyaya, self-study, and iswara pranidharma, surrender. And surrender for
Mm-hmm.
me is a very interesting word because one of the attributes that I ascribe to my own self, and not in either a stereotypical way or the commercialized way, is this term
Mm-hmm.
Muslim, right? You see, people says, well, you say you're Muslim. I say, yes, I am, but by
Yeah.
meaning and not by some type of proper noun coined term.
Right.
But that word right
Right.
there, the iswara prinadoma dona, surrender, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
That's the condition that I like to try to maintain, is being in the surrendered state to truth, to reality, to being, right?
Yeah.
Being in
Yes.
sync. So
Absolutely.
that way, when I look up at the night sky or the day sky, that I'm in just as much as in sync as everything that I see around me and in me. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
That being my goal while in this particular stage of existence. Does that make any sense?
Right. Yes. Yes, it does. And that's why um like surrender, we can say acceptance, can fall under what it takes to surrender. You kind of have to just fully accept, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of my main things is acceptance, not only acceptance of self, but acceptance of others. And just like I was saying earlier, like not being judgmental, not having that, oh, I'm right, you're wrong, you
Right.
should do it this
Right.
way. It's not about all of that. You're living, I'm living, that's helping you get through your day, that's helping me get through my day. Okay,
It
we
makes me
good.
think
We're
of an observation that I had with ants, of all things, ants.
hmm
And with all these hundreds and hundreds of ants, they all have a common understanding of a common objective. And
Yeah.
each one, no one is in competition, but they're rather in collaboration, realizing that each one has its assigned responsibilities that makes the whole work for the whole. You understand?
Right.
Bec- You know,
Right.
they're working in that way. And
hmm
I believe that if we as a people, melanated people, as well as we as humanity in general, you
Yeah.
understand, if we were to
hmm
operate in this way, seeing each other as vital instruments to the whole, you understand, it would really change the dynamic. I know this might sound kind of dreamy to folks, but it starts at home. It starts right at
It
home
does.
with the individual. So it is something that is,
Mhm.
when people say, oh, well, that's not going to happen. Well, change your outlook on it, and it can. It starts there. If it
Right.
happens there, guess what? It's
Right.
happening.
Exactly. Like if it can happen for you.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to happen for everybody else right here, right now, but it can happen for
For
you
you,
right
right.
here, right now,
So
and then if you are living that in that light and within that lifestyle, then that's going to rub off on people.
yes, yes,
People are gonna be interested. People are gonna go they're gonna wanna be like, "Oh, well, shit, how they do that? I wanna find that peace of mind. I wanted to say that every day is a day where I'm present and I can get through any situation, whether it be, good or bad or whatever."
yes.
You
Mm.
know?
So on this list, I just want to go through this and not leave it,
Mhm.
with just one and two. But
Yes.
number three, it shows us asana, which deals with posture.
Yeah,
And it
right,
says,
those are the actual postures.
mhm,
Right.
easy, comfortable positions of the body. Keyword is easy, comfortable positions. Not We're not doing something that's
Exactly.
out of the person's range. Then easy, it's easy
Exactly.
to them. Connecting the mind and spirit to experience stillness and infinity. Can you
Mhm.
postures? What about that? And perhaps if you could even demonstrate to the viewers what this
Yeah.
means.
I'm gonna go into a little. So I'm a nerd, right?
Hmm.
Um, so I'm
Likewise,
gonna go
welcome.
into
Yep.
a little bit, right, of the of some of the science and the anatomy
Mm,
into yoga, and I'm going to add in the spiritual side of it too.
okay.
So obviously, we have our body, right?
Yes.
And we have our bones, our muscles, our tissues, our ligaments, tendons, whatever, all that stuff in there. And as I was saying earlier, we hold, stress within the body, and physical stress is a response to emotional stress. Um, but so we have these physical spots within our body, and we can move, our body. And when we breathe, as you were saying earlier, we breathe into these points of tension,
And
and we expand
I've been
these
noticing you,
these
by the
parts
way,
of our body.
throughout the course
Hmm.
of our conversation. I've been noticing you posture differently at different points, at different junctures of the conversation. So I wondered about how all that relates into what you do in general.
Yeah, because I feel like this all the time, like even like just whatever all day. If I'm up and doing something, I'm probably on the floor sitting like this. People are always like, "Oh, are you meditating?" I'm like, "No, I just sit like this."
Hmm.
Um, but for me, I had to work on my posture a lot.
Yes.
So that's why I tend to sit like this, and I tend to sit up straight. When I lean over, I try not to hunch like this.
Right.
I
Right.
try to, lean, so that I'm not putting too much pressure in my shoulders or in my hips and,
Okay.
things like that. So yeah, it's very, it is intentful, right? These intentful movements. Because over time, I'm going to get a hunchback,
Right.
right? If I'm sitting like this all day. Um, so it's important, even whatever job you have, if you're sitting down or if you're standing up all day, walking around, you can find just these little things to help you out. Because these minimal movements that you're doing repetitively, it's gonna cause a lot of damage in the long run. So if you can do minimal movements repetitively that are going to counteract these things of sitting down all day or being on your feet all day,
Yep.
then why not do them? If it's going to give you more comfort, if it's going to give you more comfort now, and if it's going to save you, you know, your body later, you could be injured or you're going to have these health problems because
Right.
you didn't have time to just simply stretch your wrists because you've been typing all day, or, stretch your neck because you've been looking at a screen all day, or do whatever,
Let's take for
right?
example, there's a sister
Hmm.
in the chat right now who expressed that she has just come home from surgery, and
Okay.
so there's just recovered. She's just recovering from surgery, and so
Hmm.
imagine she's been in a hospital bed or whatever the case for a certain
Right.
duration, and
Right.
what could she do to in her own way follow up with doing things that help to help her to recover.
Right. First and foremost, since you are recovering from surgery, ask your doctor what are your like what can you do physically,
Right.
right? The extent of your physical movement, and exercise. But starting off for sure, there's something called chair yoga. So you just do yoga in a chair. There are certain moves. I don't have a chair right now, or else I would show you some, but you
Hmm.
can look it up on YouTube. There's plenty of things.
Hmm. Do
But
you have anything? Do you have any footage or anything that would be
I don't actually. So I not on the devices that I have. My friend has some stuff, but I have to get it eventually.
okay? And by the way, let me interject real quick. I don't know if
Hmm.
you're aware. I do have a social media platform that I'm the founder of called Soul Journey of Life, and I
Oh,
in an effort to collaborate with you and to try to even perhaps even offer you the opportunity to have an online presentation.
yeah,
Perhaps if we can talk, you could take a look at that, and maybe there may be some
sure.
content that you could put there that would provide
Right,
you know your audience or a growing audience to a
right.
resource center. You understand?
Absolutely. Right, and that because I'm looking to do honestly a lot of virtual things because that's after, during and after COVID, that's
Yes.
just kind of what it is nowadays, especially
We
with the
definitely
weather
have to
getting
talk. We'll definitely have to talk
out.
because that's
For
something
sure.
that might be able to benefit all involved.
For sure, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, but yeah, so there's, plenty of things that you can do as far as looking up things on YouTube for chair yoga. Um, And then also, like, I don't know what specific part of the body it's on, you had surgery on, but not just, a lot of times people like to focus just on that one area. But
Mm,
yoga is a full body, practice, and that is more beneficial than just isolating one area because when your body is weak, in one part, your body is going to become overworked in other parts. So you're going to need to find that balance and you're going to have to restabilize all of these parts of your body. So yoga is a very good way to do that because it is full body and you're not just isolating one thing. Now, of
mm.
course, there are specific poses that you can do for one body part, but it's still not just activating the muscles in that one part of your
Do
body.
you care to give an
Um,
example and kind of
yes,
explain what significance or what way that helps?
for sure. You want to give me maybe
Let's say, for
a
example,
part?
like me, I'm an IT repair tech, and sometimes, I'm involved where I've got to lift a heavy server. You understand? And
Mhm.
maybe, oh, I'll give you an example. Oh, boom, scratch that one. Uh, a recent event, like sort of a couple months ago event. I was
Okay.
climbing over a barrier, right? And
Mhm.
as soon as I planted my foot on the other side, I kind of took it for granted that I had firm footing, and instead I came crashing down like the Twin Towers, right? Came crashing down right on this shoulder right here, and really in
Mm.
my elbow, and really, I mean, it was so painful. I just had to lay there for a minute and just think about, like, you see what you just
Right.
did. This all on
Right.
you, right? And so by the time I
Mhm.
came to my terms, I was able to kind of breathe in the pain, you know,
Mhm.
and get up again because you have to get up.
Yes.
Now, as time has gone on, I've been able to. I mean, the pain is still there. Anytime I try to lift up something, it's always making itself known, and this is months later.
Right.
So, what could I
Right.
do in this type of a scenario?
Yeah. So is the pain? Is it more so like what part of the
It's
shoulder?
primarily right here at the junction of my elbow, and it only
Oh.
surfaces, like, I could
Okay.
pick
Okay.
stuff up, but anything that causes me to kind of crane stuff up like this, if I lift up something like this, it's going to announce itself. And a lot of times it'll
Right.
cause me to hesitate in picking something up. And this is usually where I'm strongest on my right arm. You understand, when it comes to picking
Mhm.
stuff up, carrying bags and stuff. But now it's all changed. Now my left arm is like, ha ha ha, it's about time, right?
Right.
So what can I do to restore a sense
Yeah.
of, you know relief in that?
Yeah. So with your elbow, it's kind of like a weird it's a weird, I don't know, part of your body,
Hmm.
right? So you kind of want to focus. So when you hurt your elbow, you have like different your different nerves and things that run up your arm and your shoulder. So that's why you also, I mean, of course you fell on your shoulder, but that's why you also have shoulder pain too
Hmm.
because of the nerve pathway there. So honestly, simply
It'd be something like
exercises like this,
doing that,
yeah,
right?
that can help because what you did was you compressed
Mm.
your bones and your nerves and things right here, right? So being able to stretch those out is going to help. Um, and then also, let's see. I don't know, like, so you don't have to be able to like fully. Let me turn around completely.
Hmm. Because I'm a
You
big
don't
guy,
have
by the way. I'm not big, but I'm like,
to.
kind of
Yeah.
I've got some size to me.
Right. So you don't have to be able to fully, put your arm all the way, like this.
Oh wow, imagine
But
that.
even just, you know, having it down here, even if that's difficult, just having it, as comfortable as you can,
Okay.
because that's gonna stretch out more so the front part, but it's the supporting area that you need to work on
Right.
as well. Because the elbow, there's not much you can actually do you know, for the actual elbow itself because it's, I don't know, just very, very weird.
Yeah, I get that
Very
because
weird.
that's a very. I mean, it's like once you do something to that, it's like it just is what it is from that point.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like I said, it's more so about the supporting areas around that. And even these, whatever these are, just like making fists
Mm-hmm.
and extending, but making sure that you're extending too, because that's working all of these muscles up your arm.
Mm-hmm. And I don't mean to change the
So,
subject, but what's with those
mhm.
beads? What's the significance of those beads right there?
Okay, so these I actually got in Peru. Um, so these beads are made from a seed to a tree. It starts with a W. Don't get me to lying about the name because I will mess it up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yes, these are specific seed from a tree, and they use a lot of these for like protection. And yes, it's an accessory, but a lot of the jewelry there is just used for like spiritual protection. Um, and then the colors are actually dyed from a different plant that's all just natural,
Okay.
handmade.
This brings me
Um,
to a point
mhm,
in which one of the moments that I had observed you in the course of conversation,
yeah,
previously, you were working on a project,
yeah.
drilling crystals and what have you. Whatever happened? What was that about, and what happened to that What's the deal with that?
So yeah, so as I was saying earlier, the first part of the services that I'll offer and getting people just, I guess, to balance themselves out is just, that relaxation
Mm,
state and that really releasing stress and tension and trauma and emotions and things right like that. But once you can get through, the first stages of that, you can really start on amplifying your own power and your own energy. And you can also use these devices, while you're going through it. They can help to amplify your intentions.
okay.
Um, so I do a lot with crystals, but I am very kind of new to making crystal jewelry, um, and things of that nature. So I'm gonna flip this camera around and I'm gonna show you all my little
Would you
box
say
of
that
crystals.
dealing with like crystals, dealing with stones and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
that these are also instrumental in meditative practices and whatnot? And if they are, in what way, in what part do these play as opposed to just simply being a rock that you see on the ground?
So let me try to get this back up. My phone, I put my phone on the charger, so
Okay,
I gotta stay cord. I think it's good. Okay.
that's good.
um, so first, do I think that you said, do I think that they are what now? Um,
Well, the
I
average
wanted to,
the average Joe
the,
or Jane
uh-huh,
that walks upon, most, many people, they look at the rocks, they look at different stones and objects and make nothing more of them than just something that they step on as they keep on going about their way. But
right.
in meditative practices, one of the things I've learned, especially when I walk into like stores that sell different products geared towards meditation, I find in
Mm-hmm.
them certain stones, certain carved out stones or shaped smooth stones, uh, you know,
Mm-hmm.
uh, crystals, things like that that are useful in meditation. What makes
Yeah.
these stones and crystals useful in meditation? What qualities are in them or about them that makes them a tool useful in meditation?
Okay. So Crystals, they are, a lot of people like to say that they are just little seeds of history of the earth. Because they formed over the process of the formation of the earth, and past that, right up until now, there's new crystals being formed every day.
Yes.
So they hold a lot of energy, right? Because they've been through a lot, right? And depending on what kind of crystal they are, it holds different minerals, right? So this one, for instance, is a rhodonite. You
Okay.
can't really see it that well,
Yeah.
but it's a rhodonite, and it has a lot of granite in it. So it's a very, very hard crystal.
Okay.
Now this one is a carnelian. Now I don't know like the main mineral in this, but it is very so much less dense. Like it's kind of transparent. Now compared to this, which is solid, right?
Okay. Okay.
Um, so the different minerals play different roles within life, within our bodies, right? So you can, let's just say you broke a bone, right? You could get a crystal that is high in calcium, high in phosphorus, and you can, meditate with those, or you can have those around your body, and it's going to amplify those minerals that are in your body, because it's kind of like these tuning forks that I had earlier. The way that they work is through resonance. When this vibrates, it's going to, whatever can vibrate at this frequency is going to start vibrating at this frequency, um, just through resonance, through that association, through that connection.
Okay.
So when you place the crystal on your body or in your auric field, then your body is going to resonate with it, and it's going to amplify the minerals within your body, and it's going to amplify whatever properties this has.
Do you see the image I
That
just
you
showed?
Oh yeah, look at that.
Hmm. Yeah.
You got
You're,
all
de-
the goodies.
you're definitely a collector like me. I got a little box of just journey collected items
Yeah,
myself. It looks like I even see a Turkish lyre in there somewhere. That's what that is.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff in there.
But I'm noticing the different kinds of stones and whatnot that are in there.
Right, and then yeah, different colors mean different things. Because different colors, again, going back to frequencies, different colors have different frequencies.
Okay.
Um, So, like, for example, you asked about this blue bracelet. So I'm wearing blue today because today is Wednesday. Today is
Mm,
Wednesday, right? Okay,
yes.
yeah, today's
Yes.
Wednesday. So Wednesday is ruled by the planet Mercury.
Okay. Wow.
Mercury is associated with communication and the throat chakra.
Oh, we got to break
So
that
the throat
down.
chakra.
We got to break that down because you said that
Uh-huh.
Wednesday is ruled by Mercury. What do we mean by
Yeah.
that? How's Wednesday ruled by Mercury?
So first, I'm just gonna say the names of the weekdays in Spanish,
Hmm.
and if the English language did things more like this, things would make a lot more sense.
Yeah, I
But
definitely agree.
so,
Yep.
so uh, some of them may not, you may not catch the correlation. But I'm starting at Sunday, and I'm going to Sunday, starting off at Sunday, ending at Saturday.
Okay.
So domingo, lunes, martes, miércoles, jueves, um, what's Friday? Oh, viernes, sábado.
Okay.
Oh, miércoles is Wednesday. Mercury. That's what if you can kind of hear that correlation. Lunes, you know, the moon,
Moon. Right.
lunar, right? Um, so depending on, you can look throughout different religions, different cultures, different philosophies, different whatever, and you will see the different days correlated with the planets. Astrology and astronomy is a very, very deep thing,
Yes, it
right?
is. Yes, it is.
After
Yep.
all. So to actually be able to like tell you why it correlates to that, it's a very, very long.
Yep. I get that. I get that. Sometimes things, sometimes learnings have to be traversed upon. You
Yeah,
understand, to really
yeah,
grasp what what's being asked.
right, right.
So I definitely
Um,
get that.
yes, but I'll just say, according to some philosophies and things of that nature, Wednesday is ruled by the planet Mercury.
Okay. Hmm.
And Mercury, according again to some philosophies and things, corresponds with the throat chakra, communication, self-expression, and the color blue. So I typically like the color coordinate. So that's why I'm wearing a blue shirt and blue jewelry.
And one of the things that I could relate or could ponder upon when I think about a significance that could be tied to Mercury ruling Wednesday. One of the
Hmm.
thing, if we look at it astronomically, we know that Mercury is the closest to the sun. You understand,
Hmm.
the governing star of this particular solar system, right?
Right.
Um, and so, being that close to the sun, it would seem to me that also influence or when in connection with meditation, we must be dealing with something very close when it comes to
Hmm.
any meditative principles.
Right.
Okay, so I mean, I'm hoping that I'm communicating something that makes sense with what you're saying right now.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Because like um there are there's different types of meditation, right? When
Hmm.
people think of meditation, sometimes they just think of somebody sitting there like this, but there's also chanting meditations, which I do a lot of. And some of the chantings are prayers to different deities and different gods. Now, of course, you don't have to combine, them, but you
Hmm.
can if you choose to. So I choose to. And some of the mantras that I do are for specific deities, and these deities have different days that they rule or that they correspond with, where their energy is the most potent,
Okay.
the most amplified. So I may, on Tuesday, um, do uh, a mantra for let's see, um, gods of war, any gods of war. So whatever religion, whatever
Interject the proper
mythology.
term there, right?
Right.
I think the best way I'm able to connect when it comes to what you're talking about there, because you mentioned postures and forms earlier, is
Hmm.
I have a practice that I do. It's called Dao De Ching. Right? It's a martial
Oh
arts
yeah,
practice, and it's
yeah,
it's a meditative martial arts practice. It's not just about quick moves and stuff. It's actually pretty
right,
slow and
right.
kind of fluid. And
Hmm.
when I you start off with certain breathing exercises, certain movements that are intended to loosen the joints and things like that before you even get into the actual system of Dao De Ching. And in the system of Dao De Ching is in a kind of inner strengthening, you understand, of the
Yeah,
body as well as the mind, focus and things like that. And
right.
one will appreciate the benefits of it when I mean, it's just with anything, you don't appreciate bike riding until you're actually riding the bike. And you say, "Oh
Hmm.
wow, this is cool,"
Right,
and
right.
it's the same thing with what's being talked about here. Um, so in the course of Dao De Ching, which is at least the learning of it I've derived from an Asian source, right?
Yeah, and
Um,
I was actually gonna mention this. I forgot to. That's another book
yeah.
that I've read that I love, the Tao Te Ching.
Mhm. You ever heard of Mentak Chai?
Yes.
Okay, that's one teacher that some of the material. In fact, I might have something around here somewhere. Anyway, that I
Mm-hmm.
really dig. You understand? All I'm saying, viewers, family, if you understand Brother Quest, man, just trust to believe. If you get out there and get in to some of these arenas, some of these environments of learning, your mind will be blown at the things you can learn. I mean, I'm just
Mm-hmm.
saying, you know, loosen up a little bit and realize that much of this is just a matter of linguistics. You understand? Like the
Right.
sister said earlier, we're speaking English language, and I've talked about this before. I've talked about how this language is somewhat deficient because it's a left brain method of
Yeah.
communication, right? It's deficient in some of the virtuous terms that we could use when we speak right brain. You notice that she used in your statement, your quote earlier, Ubuntu. That's a
Mm-hmm.
Bantu, Kiswahili, Bantu language, a Bantu word. And that one
Yeah.
word opened up so much of an expression. There was much that was said, I am and so you are, or I am
Mm-hmm.
because you are.
Right.
That's the English rendering of it. And
Exactly.
realize
Right.
that in that simple word is so much more of how it can be applied. Similarly,
Mm-hmm.
you were mentioning how in the course of the meditation, you identified with the mantras connected with um, reference to deities, or
Right.
Kemetic students will appreciate the term netaires, right? Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and for me, I would even connect, especially for you, for us religious folks in the scene, interchange that with malaik. You understand? Heavenly host.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Okay.
language. So when you're sitting
Right.
there, when one is sitting there, when I'm doing the Tao Te Ching practices, you know, I
Mm-hmm.
focus on the relevant elements. I understand that, hey, this is a language
Exactly.
that person who's teaching this is accustomed to. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that person is trying to implement that person's practices to the best of what they have at their arsenal. And it doesn't
Right.
make my method or my terms, if you would, superior to them or more accurate than theirs. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? If I say Allah is just as relevant as if they were to say Krishna, Shiva.
Right.
You understand? Amun.
Right.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
if we understand that, hey, we mean this by saying this, then we're talking the same.
Exactly.
We don't get hung up on the linguistics when it comes to understanding the principal meanings,
Right.
right?
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to say that because, like I said, I've encountered, all kinds of conversations with brothers and sisters, and I've been through the world of rigidness. You understand?
Yeah.
And I'll admit there was a time in my life where I was of that, being kind of rigid in my thinking, and I'm thinking to myself, I was thinking, what kind of broke me from that was an encounter I had with a brother by the name of Nu, deriving his name from the essence of consciousness, or the sea of consciousness in Kemetic terminology. And
Mm-hmm.
let me see if I could give a short version of this. In the course of building with this brother, one of the things a question came to me regarding um, what if there was more that, because of my current perspective of life, I was being held back from. You understand? And what would I do
Mm-hmm.
if what's holding me back was, in and of itself, um, how can I put it, wanting of more? And it was kind of like the insight that I got from that is like, what if I'm so off that everything that I thought I knew, you understand, was, I don't want to say incorrect, but missing so many pieces. What do you do next?
Right.
And it made me
Right.
feel empty immediately. Like I
Right.
was like what? I mean, what do I do? Because everything that all of my life is bent on this limited understanding that I have. And if you remove that, what do
Exactly.
you do? What do you do? Right? So I felt so like
Yep.
I started crying and everything in my lonesome, because it hit me so hard, like a rude like, wow, rude awakening, wake up.
Mm-hmm.
And so as time went on, I thought about the brothers and sisters, and brothers and sisters, people, humans in Tibet, and I'm thinking about
Yeah.
all these monks, day in day out, with their rigorous training, the rigorous meditation, and I said, are they having ill intentions in this? Are they going out trying to do something wicked? And if they're
Right.
not, then am I to say that, well, all these people are doomed because they don't use the formula, the linguistic formula that I'm accustomed to here? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Are they all doomed because they aren't identifying themselves or labeling themselves with the terms that I've been accustomed to labeling myself? If they're all
Right.
doomed, then what kind of mercy are we dealing with? If they're
Right.
not
And
doomed,
if
go ahead.
and I'll say, and if that's true for me, is that not also true for them and how they think?
Right, right. And so when I had that kind of an outlook on the matter, it really opened up all kinds of just, I mean, it was, if you could think of a prism with a blaze of light coming through and just whoosh, you understand, just spreading out. It kind of came at me like that, and so it enhanced or opened up a channel of communicating with other people that I prior to that didn't have or wasn't receptive to. Let me say it that way. Um, so that I was able to communicate with anyone and hear them, not according to whatever I think I should be hearing or whatever my mind wants to convert their statements to, but hear them as they are saying it. Not not
Mm-hmm.
not even according to the words that they might be saying in the English language as they're speaking it, but to really hear them, hear what their
Right.
soul is trying to say to mine, being
Right.
one at that
And
time.
it's funny because I'll like you see, I'm not sure if you've seen on my Instagram, but there's posts of me chanting mantras, right, to
Hmm.
different Hindu and Buddhist, gods. But then you'll see a post of me reading a Bible scripture.
Yeah.
And I went to church a couple weeks ago, right?
Hmm.
So it's like people are like, well, how can you know, do this, but you're not Christian, or how can you do this, but you're not Buddhist? And it's like because it's the energy, it's the message of what's behind it, because they're all sharing a similar message,
Right.
right?
Too often
It's just differently.
have I experienced where people have, if I mention Quran and cite something from the Quran, then I get associated with being their idea of what Muslim means. Or if I read the Bible,
Exactly.
like you mentioned, I'll get that same treatment where, well, brother, I thought you were. I said, well, what does that have to do with the fact that this is a tool that I'm using for
Right.
whatever benefits I'm extracting from it at the time? It doesn't
Exactly.
mean
And does it make sense or does it not make sense? If it applies, it applies.
right. If I study a book of mathematics, I said, well, why don't you call me a mathematician then? Right? If I pick up a book
Right.
geometry, then wouldn't I be a geometrist, or
Right.
whatever the case may be? But nobody does that except
Exactly.
for when you pick up a book that they have some type of, whether they're right or wrong. I'm not, like I said, I'm not here to say, oh, you're
Right.
wrong with this and I'm right, or vice versa.
Not at all.
But I say, I think that our ideas of the world around us and within, we need to have a broader channel, a bigger antenna. You understand?
Mhm.
To deal with what we've been accustomed to throughout our life in this land, wherever we may be. And
Yeah.
I say this because many of us are full aware that, hey, a lot of manipulation is going on throughout the course of our life here. A lot of miseducation, misinformation. If one can accept that has happened, that's been our experience, then we need to, then that would only mean that it becomes important for us to reevaluate how we learn. You
Mhm.
understand? Reevaluate
Yeah.
how we learn and realize that if if you have accepted that you've been manipulated and misinformed, then how does that affect the way you learn?
Right.
And so
Right.
when we remove these obstacles, it allows brothers and sisters to be able to appreciate such as what you're presenting, and
Mhm.
look in the what is sincere in you in what you do,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Absolutely. And that's going to bring me back to the whole traveling thing when you're talking about, thinking differently,
Yeah.
right? um, going to the actual science and like biology, like opening up new neurological pathways.
Okay.
Um, so I'm gonna actually not go back to traveling for a second, but I will get to that. But I started doing that a long time ago. Um, One of the biggest things that I did back in like 2019, what 2017ish, is I taught myself how to use my left hand. So I'm a
Mm,
self-taught ambidextrous.
yeah.
Um, and that has opened, I had to be able to use my brain in a way that, okay, how can I do this, right?
Right.
And at a point, you even have to kind of let go of that so analytical process of, okay, how can I make this work? And you just kind of have to let your brain work it out, let your neurons and just let it happen, and eventually you just get better. And I actually started off practicing how you learn, when you learn how to write with your whatever your dominant hand is. I bought little kindergarten books, tracing the lines and doing all these dot to dot puzzles and things like that, and now I can use my left hand a lot. Now I don't practice it that much anymore, so I'm a little rusty,
Right.
but
Hmm.
I can still say that I'm self-taught ambidextrous. Because it's not just writing. Eventually I started progressing onto other things. Um, but so going back to the traveling, another way of opening up neurological pathways is through different herbs and different plant medicines.
Okay.
So the meditation and some of that the yogic practices, those were more of the Indian and Indonesia trip that I wanted to take. But since I couldn't do that, I went the plant medicine route. And so I went to Mexico to learn about some of the indigenous plant medicines and to take some of them. And some of these indigenous plant medicines, I mean, ayahuasca, um, peyote, San Pedro, salvia, things of that nature. I didn't take all of those, but those are just some that are out there.
Okay.
So when I got to Mexico, I was there for about a week, and it was just very much westernized retreats that they had for these plant medicine
Right.
ceremonies. And
Right.
I'm like, yeah, I'm okay.
Right.
And they were very, very expensive. They were like $2,000 for 3 days, or for 10 days. And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna pay that much. Sorry.
Right. 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 It's
um,
interesting to me how there's an
mhm,
industry that tries to market things that are of a natural sort. You understand? And they try to really
exactly.
make a big bank off of. It's like
Yeah.
the common thing that people know. You go to one of these fast food chains, and the healthiest stuff is the most expensive stuff on the menu.
Right.
But the
Right.
junk is easily affordable. Even they even package it up all nicely with
Mhm.
convenient prices. You understand?
Mhm.
But every time I go
Right.
into some, in fact, oftentimes when it comes to me going to, you know, if I want to get certain books on meditation and things like that, I have to go to people who I know mean well, because 9 times out of 10 their prices are going to be right. Than me just going
Yeah.
to some random shop where
Right.
everything that matters costs as much as a big screen TV or something. It costs as much as a
Mhm.
new car.
Mhm.
you know,
Right.
whatever. But
Right.
yeah, I want to
Yeah.
ask you real quick, and by the way,
Mhm.
before I ask you this, I want to put into the chat a link so that any of the viewers who might have questions for you that I might not be able to think of, that I might not have thought of through the course of the conversation, perhaps maybe
Mhm.
they could talk to you and break
For
bread in
sure.
that way, if you don't mind.
Yeah. No, I don't mind at all.
Um, let's see here. I wanted to ask, since we were dealing with um the times,
Mhm.
how can your practices and services, and I may have had this in some form earlier, but I want to bring that back forward, I should say. How can your practices or services help the community, especially in times of crisis, as is seen in our times? But I want to tie that with this.
Mhm.
Um, the importance of staying active, you understand, in practice. And
Yes.
how can I put it? Sort of a brief breakdown, if you can like put a draw a line between here's this practice and here is what type of drama we're experiencing in our time. When it deals with the melanated
Mm-hmm.
community, certain crises such as brutality, the loss of a loved one because of brutality, because of systemic racism, whatever the case may be. How can A equal such and such? B goes
Right.
to this. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, with yoga, there's different with the asana practice, the postures. There's different types. There's you have Ashtanga, which is like a power practice, and then you have Yin Yoga, which is a more restful and slow practice.
Okay.
So with power practices, it's really good to get out um, emotions like anger and aggression and things that are of that nature, right? Even excitement, things that are very, very high.
Okay.
um it's very good to get to release those type of emotions and to balance that, because it's not that these things are going to go away, right? Or it's not that they have changed as of yet, right? But it's just a way to get through it. It's a way to live your day so that you can just be stronger
Okay.
getting through it, right? So there's different power practice for things, like I said, like anger and aggression and things like that. And then you have the yin yoga, which is more restful yoga. Now with this is releasing deep rooted traumas.
Okay.
So childhood traumas, even ancestral traumas, right? And things of that nature. So what you do is you get into a posture and you sit in it anywhere between 5 to 10, even longer minutes. And it helps to really get into your tissues and your muscles and to really get a deep sense of release. So I'm just going to demonstrate one real quick. And this one, and a lot of restful yoga has to do with hip openers, because as I stated earlier, as people, especially for women, we hold a lot of energy, emotion, stress, and trauma in our hips.
Okay.
Um, so
Why would it be? Why would that be the area where that type of energy is held? Is there a reason behind or something behind that?
um, well, one, because of the way that just our physical anatomy is,
Mm-hmm.
and this is the center for creation,
Ah.
right?
Okay. Yeah.
So it's the most vast place within our body, especially for women, because we have a womb, right?
Right.
Um, so it's easy to store energy here just because it's so open.
Ah. Okay. Definitely.
Um, so yeah, so one, this is called half pigeon. Um, I'm gonna come into it. All right. So I'm gonna come into it through downward dog,
Half
and you
pigeon.
inhale. Yep, inhale. Raise your leg. And then on your next inhale, you bring your knee to your elbow and your wrist, and then your ankle to your wrist. Okay, you can't see me at all. All you see is my butt. So sorry. I'm gonna turn this way.
All right.
All right. So your leg is like this, if you can tell what that looks like. I'm sorry, this camera angle is really
I can
bad.
see at least.
My phone's on the charger. So.
Yeah. I can see the angle that you're trying to portray right now.
Okay,
You got your
yeah.
your knee and
So
your leg.
right. So the goal is actually to get your shin parallel. So it would be to the top of your mat. So parallel here. But even me, like it's at a diagonal, because your hips it's a lot. And plus I haven't, warmed up. This is just right here right now. So this already is intense, right?
Ah,
But the more you breathe into it, you can begin to lay down here. And then a lot of yin practices, you do it with pillows. So
you said
I'm
yin
gonna
practices? Yin practices?
yeah, and yep, yin or restorative. So you do them with like pillows and things. So let's just imagine this is a yoga pillow, and I may take it and then I can use this as a rest.
Hmm.
So it's more comfortable. So I can sit here for 10, 15 minutes with my leg like this and my hip, being opened
Okay.
because it's a hip.
And this and
Um,
this again is something that would be in the interest of the sisters out there, right?
yeah, specifically, yes. I mean, it's good for men too, but definitely more most beneficial for women,
Okay.
I would say.
All right.
Um, but yeah, so and then you have things like shoulder openers. So you can even just like this right here is a shoulder opener,
Right.
right? But as far as restorative, you might I don't know if I'll be able to get an angle of this. But I will try. So you lay on your stomach and you have your arms out to a T position,
Right.
and then you roll over. So you have one hand on the floor as like a prop, and then you roll over. Oh,
Yep.
goodness.
The camera rolled. I don't know about you though.
Right, the camera roll. Goodness, this is so much easier when the phone is not on the charger. But
Hmm.
okay, so arms in a T.
Arms in a T. That's where we left off. Okay.
Yep. And then you push off on that arm and then you roll over. Now you can stay here at this point, or you can bring your leg up and over and use that to prop up, and that gives you a deeper stretch.
Okay.
But it might be a little difficult to tell where it's stretching
What,
on
what,
my
what I
body.
noticed out of that is I noticed that you had one arm in a forward position and one arm in reverse
Right.
behind you.
Exactly. So now you can probably see more clearly where the stretch is in in my shoulder.
Okay.
But
Let me ask
so
you
that
something.
is, mhm.
Okay. When I do the Tao Te Ching, right, one of the opening things to do is I'll be moving to the right and to the left, kind of almost in a swinging motion, where
Mhm.
the corner of my wrist kind of bounces off of the part of my spine that connects with my hips. And
Like this.
yeah, yeah. And the idea
Yeah.
is to kind of open up certain, channels that might be blocked over there in that area.
Hmm.
And is that sort of kind of what's happening when I saw you? I mean, it's a different thing you're doing, but when your arm was
Right.
facing, you had one
It's
behind you and one in front of you.
Yeah, it's very similar because what you're doing is you're twisting, right? And
Hmm.
with a twist, you're really stretching your spine and around your spine. And your spine is, it's the center of your being. And that's where, the energy it it centers here and then it expands,
Definitely.
right? Through
Hmm.
all directions outwards. So if you have blockages and if you need to really balance, your energies, then doing twists is very helpful for that because you're removing tension from your spine.
Right.
So whatever, any type of twisting motion, whether it's, static or it's in motion,
Okay.
it's gonna be good for opening up, different energy centers within your body.
Um. See, this people. The more you learn, the more you appreciate just how deep this is, and
Yeah,
not just
right.
appreciation, not just appreciation of the deepness, but also how beneficial these things are. Like I said, it's solutions that are right in your own arsenal, in your own capacity. Nothing that's where
Exactly.
you gotta, nothing that's out of your range of being able to do or achieve.
Right. Right.
I want
Yes.
to let the viewers know. I put in the link. I mean, I put in the chat panel there. There's the link there. If you would, be interested in coming in, then perhaps you ask some questions or whatnot, or commentary for the sister Niara that's live with us. I want to remind you that this is Soul Journey of Life, conscious Black social media, which means that whatever we put forward, always say, speak in the way that you would speak that you would like your own child to listen to. Speak in that way, because we
Mm-hmm.
want to benefit the whole and not just the some. We want to be able to communicate in a way that shows respect to our guests as well as viewers. You understand? So that's the primary guideline when it comes to coming in and being a guest or a commentator or whatnot with our guests on the scene.
Mm-hmm.
That's the measure of respect.
Yeah.
So yes,
Thank
click the chat or click the link if you so desire, or if you don't, you can always put your questions in the chat panel itself, and I'll just read them off, or she could see them and read them off if she sees them.
Yeah.
Whatever the case may be, this would be the time to definitely drop your lines and drop some words from your mind.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
Let's see here.
Um,
Um, I'll put it over here.
mhm,
So. Going back up here, one of the things on the list of your expertise is
mhm.
herbalist. You also mentioned cooking. You also mentioned psychic,
Yeah.
and tantra practitioner. So
Yes.
I want to try to tie in the three of these in the
Okay.
course of this question: herbalist, cooking, and then after that, I want to tie together the tantra practitioner and psychic, as well as
Okay.
shaman. So first, dealing with the
Okay.
herbalist and cooking. What about that?
For sure. So I feel like, I mean, almost if you could, you can pretty much be considered an herbalist
Hmm.
of of sorts, right?
Yes.
Because you're combining herbs to create some type of aroma, some type of flavor, some type of experience, right? And that's all an herbalist is doing. Now, an herbalist, an actual, practitioner, might be doing it for specific reasons that are medical or medicinal,
Okay.
but nonetheless, it's still practicing. So yeah, with cooking, so I was vegan for a while. I'm not vegan any longer, but so that's when I really started cooking for myself. So that's when I started learning about a lot of different vegetables and things and fruits, that I never knew of before, just because I had to expand my palate because I'm vegan now, right? And it's
Okay.
like, okay, I don't know what to eat, so I got to try
What
a
what
bunch of
what
new stuff.
what motivated you to become vegan? What was key to that or instrumental to that?
My freshman year of college, my writing class was focused on the food industry, and we were learning about, a lot of the sicknesses that these animals had in these meat factories, right?
Hmm.
And I'm like, I don't think I want that in my body. I'm okay.
Right.
So that was the basis of it. And over the course of me opening my mind to different philosophies and ways of life, I did get into a spiritual side of it, but I came out of that as well, just by going deeper within my own spiritual practices and my own philosophies and things that resonated with me more just over the course of time, because there's a time and place for everything. And I believe that if you never change your way of thinking, even if it's a good way of thinking, then you're not really experiencing life for what it could be.
It's hard to grow
Um,
that way.
right,
Mm.
right. So yeah, that's why I was vegan. But so I started cooking for myself, started learning a lot about these things, and as I um over the course of just time, like after I graduated from college, I just had more time to learn about things. and I wanted to have a garden. So, start learning about what things I could plant.
Mm.
And so, yeah, it just started growing from there. Eventually, it started off with things that I could eat, that were edible. And then it went on to things that were medicinal because I battle with a lot of digestive issues. And, I wear glasses. So clearly,
Yep.
eyesight, mental things. So I started just, experimenting with that, learning more about that. And yeah, now we're here.
Let me show you something, because here's something that I think, might benefit the viewers. Because many of us may
Hmm.
not think. We say, well, how I don't have access to herbs. I don't have access to these type of things. They're too expensive. I'll say, well,
Right.
bring it on home, right? And one of the things that I
Hmm.
have invested in, and I'm actually going to get a
Really
few
nice.
more. This is called an aero garden system, right? And I've got
Yeah.
2, 4, 6, 8. I've got 8 of these, right? With
Nice.
growing different things. In this one, what you see is sweet peas and cucumber melons growing. That's what's on this
Oh,
particular one.
okay.
I show this one because it's
Hmm.
got the biggest leaves right now. Um,
Right.
well, the basil's got some big leaves too, but this one shows 2 different plants in one system. Um,
Okay.
and I'm showing this because, family, it's not complicated to set up something for yourself and benefit yourself,
Mhm.
maybe even your community. You get enough of these,
Right.
you might have something going on for you that could be operational on another level. But
Mhm.
it's bringing it home to where you free yourself of dependency of resourcing the same from other uh, companies or whatnot that might be
Right.
price gouging or whatever the case may be. Grow it at home. You
Right.
with home, you've got aero garden systems, you got hydroponic systems. You understand that you can
Mhm.
set up and you get, all you would need is just the system itself. In some places you can get them for low price, but it's a good investment even if it's not a low price, because once
Right.
you have it. You get your lighting system
Exactly.
together, and boom, just like
Mhm.
that. You can grow
Mhm.
your oregano, your lavender, your basil, your rosemary. Um, I can't even think of all of it, but you can grow a variety of
Yeah.
things in this way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for those who may or may not be on food assistance, you can buy seeds
Yeah.
with EBT.
Yep.
You definitely can. And even like herbs at the store, like that are dried and things like that at the bulk section. You can buy things there as well, but definitely that's the most, self-sustainable way of doing it to way, you're insured that you have something,
Right.
right?
In so many ways, people, there is no excuse for us to get this right. In many cases, the
Mhm.
only excuses are the ones we put out there. You understand? As obstacles in
Absolutely.
front of us. There is a way,
Ab-
there's always a way to deal with the predicament or the station that you are in your life right now. Yeah, everybody's not at the same station. Some people are struggling more than others. But
Right.
um while you want to improve and while you may want more wealth or more of this or that, there are things that you could do in the immediate time, in the present time sense, that can deal with your problems at hand. And perhaps because those issues are dealt with, it opens up the channel for you to now look into the things that you were aspiring for anyway. Or maybe you would end up with new aspirations that you didn't notice prior to that.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
let's see here. I'm looking here. Yes, indeed, family. In the chat, whoever's viewing this, some of my viewers don't view this until later. It's all gone and the show's over. And then next thing
Right.
you know, I get all these views. So,
Right.
somehow, people benefit in their own time. Um,
Mhm.
but those of you that are viewing, I would ask you, if you got any questions at the mind, don't be afraid to drop a line in the chat, and
Yeah.
or come up in this chat and let's break bread. You understand?
Right.
Let's break some bread, right? Because we want to definitely, anytime we have this type of scenario, a guest of this sort, we want to benefit the most, because as I'm saying, these are our opportunities, you understand, to connect with one another when we do stuff
Mhm.
like this. And as I mentioned earlier, before you came on, I said, for me, this is the type of content that I thrive on. This is the type of content that's meaningful to me soul journey of
Mhm.
life. You understand? None of these words are
Right.
in vain. So
Exactly.
I would say that, the more opportunities I have for ventures of this sort, that's what I'm on. You understand?
Mhm.
That's what I'm on, because and that for me, that's the type of content that I feel passionate about sharing to the community anyway. You understand?
Right.
This is the niche, if you would, that I feel that, you know,
Mhm.
in this battle that as people like to describe it as, in this battle, this is the niche that I feel I can attack and successfully participate in winning. You understand?
Mhm.
Succeeding.
Yep.
So we do have El Bigfoot coming at us. Let's see here. All right, El Bigfoot. Peace and blessings. I appreciate it. It's very insightful stuff. Going to watch the replay. Time to cook dinner. No questions at this time. All right. Well, all I can tell you is, well, actually, I'll invite the sister, to respond to even that. He's about to cook dinner. They're about to cook dinner.
I don't know. Thank you. I appreciate you just commenting and being engaging. Definitely enjoy whatever it is that you're about to cook up. And if at any time you have any questions, feel free to, hit the link, all that, whenever you watch the replay. But
Mhm.
definitely thank you for coming through
Yes, indeed.
and for, sharing this moment of learning
And,
and growing.
and by the way, speaking of communicating with you, I did
Mhm.
put in the description the contact details that you provided me, Facebook,
Okay.
Instagram, booking. And you're in Ohio, right?
Yes. Yep. I'm in
In
Ohio. I'm in Akron.
in Akron, Ohio. Okay, so you see the
Yep.
booking details. If you guys look in the description, you can see her contact details, her booking details, Facebook, all that
Yeah.
good stuff. So make sure, there's also the email there. Make sure if you've got any questions or interest in her professional expertise, her services, be sure to take a look at those contact details given.
Yeah.
Um, let's see here. Now I do recall that because it looks like we're going into the time zone that you
Yeah.
prefer not to be in, right? So what?
Yeah, we're getting
Mhm.
there.
So what I'm going to do to try to respect that, because that's definitely part of the balance of things, is
Mhm.
to allow you the opportunity to kind of give a summary of all of this, kind of your PowerPoint of sharing with the family a summation of what you would like to share with them. What from you is meaningful for them.
Mhm. Um, so first and foremost, I try to live every moment with gratitude.
Okay.
In the hard times and the up times, no matter what it is, chaotic, whatever. I just try to be grateful. Because even in the hard times, those are the most beneficial times to learn and to grow. The reason why they use the lotus flower in yoga is because the lotus grows in the mud. It grows where, we think that, oh, plants, they need the sunlight and they need this and that. But in the darkness, that is where all of the nutrients are. That is where the depth of a person, the depth of a being is. So that's where the most growth can come from. So don't shun the hard times. Don't shun the lessons that can be learned. Um, and through different practices, through these different disciplines, it can help you get through that process, those situations better. I don't know how to explain it, honestly. You just kind of got to do it. But to me, the most important thing is self awareness and self alignment, self autonomy. Being able um, to wake up on a day to day basis, knowing that I am choosing, I am making the conscious decision to breathe in this way, to talk to myself this way, to think this way, to engage with others this way. It may seem like it's a lot, but what is really a lot is all of the baggage and all of the energetic clutter that we carry on a day-to-day basis because we don't take the time to be self-aware and to discern our energy from other people's energies and to fall into these loopholes of where we're waking up complaining and then doing the same thing tomorrow.
Hmm. That last part was definitely heavy, deep. And, you know, there was one person who is cited as being a genius who said something of a sort, to do something over and over and over again, expecting a different result is a trait of insanity. You
Right.
understand? And yeah, if you want to make a difference, from what I've gathered from what you said there, if one wants to make a difference, you've got to be willing to improve. You've got to be willing to embark upon a newer journey. You understand?
Yep.
And otherwise become stagnated,
Mm-hmm.
and then have only oneself to blame. So
Yep.
peace, if you look at how existence flows, it's constantly moving. There's constant vibration, constantly flowing. That's in there is a sign, you understand, for growth. That remaining as you are today is not the solution, but continuing to pursue, continuing to move forward, to insist upon it. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
In that will you find your solution, your salvation, quote unquote, your eureka, your bliss.
Yeah.
So I definitely appreciate you, dear sister, being and entertaining this live with us and with the community that'll be watching this and it has watched this. It was definitely a
Yeah.
blessing and an honor for you to come through and even demonstrate and break down some of your learning. um as I say, family and viewers, we need to start to restore a sense of appreciation of the expertise that's amongst us. We have
Mm-hmm.
in us and about us as a people, as individuals and as a people, all that we could ever need, essentially, to get us to where we would like to be. We have it. You understand? We are self-sufficient and community self-sufficient. You understand?
Yeah.
So definitely, if perhaps in time to come, maybe there might be another
Yeah.
opportunity for us to communicate and break bread. Even, I'd like to be able to have an opportunity at some point to show some of what you do in actuality. Some of
Yeah.
perhaps your collaboration and working with others, or as
Yeah.
individually, whatever the case may be. um
Right.
you're definitely
Sure.
welcomed on this platform. And it was definitely a blessing to have this type of conversation. um
Yeah.
you already have my contact. We'll communicate about what I
Mm-hmm.
was speaking of earlier with Soul Journey of Life. And
Mm-hmm.
yes indeed, dear sister, I definitely bid you peace and blessings.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate you so much for opening this opportunity, suggesting this for me. It's been great. It and I'm glad it's a Wednesday too, because honestly, again, going back to the chakra self-expression, speaking your truth,
Mm,
it's been a while since I've, come into a platform or just even my own platform, and I've had a long dialect about this type of thing.
mm,
So I appreciate being able to share with you all and for you to share with me. So
definitely.
thank you.
Definitely, no doubt at all. And with that said, you have a blissful rest of your day and keep on
Yes.
doing what you're doing and keep on
Right.
progressing. Next level, next level, onward. Um,
Yes.
take care. Peace and blessings. Take care.
Peace and blessings, darling. Thank you.
Okay, here. All right, family. Um, there you have it. That that's just that's what we do here on Soul Journey of Life. You understand? That's for me. That's the core of what this is all about with this platform. Elements like that, and we have so many different areas um, through this perspective, through this journey, with which we can build on with different brothers and sisters in the community who are really profound. You understand? Really, really, really blessings to us. And we need to. I think when we have these type of conversations, it increases the opportunity for us to appreciate what we have. You understand? As they say, giving the roses while we live. You understand? Giving out the roses while we live. Um, I encourage the family. I definitely encourage you to show some support, show some love, and donate what you can to the Cash App. You can also donate directly on souljourneyoflife.org if that is better for you, because these elements, when you show your support, it helps to make easier doing what's happening here on this platform. It helps make easier a lot of things. As you know, recently I went to Louisville, Kentucky to show support to what was going on there. Shout out to the NFAC and brother Grandmaster Jay. That was what was going on there. Shout out to the community in Louisville, Kentucky. Those who have been standing up for the cause of Breonna Taylor. You know, these things are possible when we are supportive of one another. You understand? That whole trip in and of itself was made possible due to support from brothers and sisters in the community, without which, all of the images, all of the footage that you were able to see later on wouldn't have been possible. So I'd like to be able to provide more content of like what you've seen today, and there's other related content. I'd like to be able to do this and so much more. You understand? That is the essence of Soul Journey of Life, um because I believe that we really benefit off of the wisdom, off of the light that's kept on in these type of circles. So um yes, indeed. Shout out and peace and blessings to all those in the commentary who were able to drop some lines in the commentary. Um, all those who came in viewing, I saw the numbers rise and decline, go up and down. It happens. Some people, they watch. Some people just listen. Whatever the case may be, I hope that from this live you were able to extract as much of blessings, much of benefit, much of insight, maybe new motivations have come your way, new ideas. You understand? New doors have opened because of this conversation. Hope maybe even through conversations such as this, you understand, the light is on even brighter. And if it's not on, maybe it's become on because of this. You understand? That's the idea anyway. You understand? This is what your brother Quest Man is about, family. You understand? This is what it is for me. I'm one of those. I see something in life, a glow, a shine, a brilliance, light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak, and I'm trying to get to it. I'm seeing the steps that it takes to do that as well. And I'm saying, hey, I see some benefit. Let me break bread with family, because want for yourself, want for your brother what you want for yourself is the golden rule, right? So with that said, that's what I try. That's what I strive to manifest. I say, look, I want bliss, I want success, I want true happiness, true love, true compassion, true divine experience for myself. So in turn, I also want that for my peoples. And this is how we succeed, family. This is wherein is our salvation. You understand? This is wherein is our salvation. Bottom line. Wow. So we've reached the 3 hour marker. We've done this live for 3 hours and 8 minutes counting. So I consider that it's best to conclude this live right here. I believe we've achieved what we came to do, came to achieve. Yes, indeed. Peace and respect to Sister Niara. Make sure you look at the description, for more details again regarding the sister, and show support to the sister. You understand? She does have a professional operation going on, and all you that like to tout supporting black-owned businesses and the like of that, well, here's yet another opportunity to do so. And also I'm looking forward to some collaborative prospects that are on the mind. Stay tuned. Yes, indeed. Make sure you share, like, and subscribe this live, and so that others can benefit as well. With that said, this is your brother Abdul Dude, aka Quest Man. Another soul journey of life, conscious black social media, just making sure the light works. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Shalom, peace and blessings. Hotep, dear beloved family, stay in the grace and the mercy of the Most High. Take care.
Welcome to your wake-up call. Soul Journey of Life, Conscious Black Social Media. The Light Dome.